Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Outside Insider. We're back again. I've seemingly broken the stage, but we've got audio issues. Audio working this time. Hang on, bear with me. What have I done there? There we go. We're back. Right. Ty Robinson time. So for those of you that have been here for the first couple of scout reports, what we've done is essentially go through all the Eagles rookies and just try to evaluate them. Just see what Howie Roseman has seen in them. Try and see the upside, project their potential, and look at potentially how many of these guys will be deemed as sleepers, how many of these guys could well become starters in week one, and just see where they grade out compared to other players in the class. You know, so far we've obviously gone through Mr. First round pick, the linebacker that no one thought would come. But what a signing that turned out to be, and someone that I think we're all very, very excited to see play in Jihad Campbell. And then the second episode, we went over Andrew Makuba and his fit with the Philadelphia Eagles. And a player that, if I'm honest, before that film room, I understood the move. I got it. I wasn't wholeheartedly sold on it, purely because Kevin Winston was there. I felt he was the better tackler of the safeties available. You know, you had other guys a little bit just beforehand. You had a few guys afterwards that potentially would have been better fits. After the film breakdown, you can definitely see what Vic Fangio saw in him. And that's kind of what we're going to be going over today with Ty Robinson, and just see what he can bring to the table for the Eagles. A monstrously sized defensive tackle, someone with a stunning athletic profile who could potentially, you know, replace Milton Williams. But a lot of people are looking for a leaner, meaner defensive tackle. What are they trying to get out of Robinson? Are they trying to replace Milton Williams just in body, or are they looking for something a little bit different? And that's what we'll be going over today. So a big shout out to everyone in the chat. Let's run it back. Show the world what rare breeds are. And he's throwing his own channel there. I like that. It's a good. I tell you, I'm not sure if you run a YouTube channel, Rare Breed, or if you just comment. But if you do or don't, that's your way to go. You've got a catchphrase right there. Put it on t-shirts. Put it on mugs. I'll buy one. I like that. You're onto something. So there's your motivation. I want you to run through a brick wall after this Ty Robinson breakdown and get yourself some Rare Breeds merch, because that is, I tell you, I like it. I like it. What's up, Josh? Nice to see you, Bird Brain. And you're right. It would not be a Liam stream without some level of technical difficulty before we set things off, which leads me to this. Is this, can we see this? Is it on screen? Yes, it is. Marvelous. Right. So we've got a few. Oh, there's me. What have we got here to look through? We've got Iowa. Okay, we've got like 3 or 4 games here. I mean, that's 11 seconds, so that's 24. Not good. Okay, there must be some more here. I'm sure if we just search out Nebraska versus, then it's gonna, you know, come up. So we'll start off. We've got a game here against Colorado in 2024.
Take what you do best
Course,
and create
Colorado,
a website.
Infamous throughout this draft process for very different reasons, but not what we're focusing on here today. We are looking for engine number 9, Ty Robinson. So we'll see what he can do. Interesting. So I don't know much about college football, as you guys know. I'm very late to the party most times, especially with the NFL draft. Like normally in the run-up post Super Bowl, I'll do the film breakdown and stuff. Just being in the UK, I don't watch a ton of college football. Most of my knowledge comes from like CFB 25 this year. So I don't know the schemes that these teams play until we watch the film. I kind of think that makes it more interesting. But automatically off the jump here, Nebraska with a 3-man front. And Robinson, you know, he does have a hand in the dirt, but essentially playing like a 5-tech. It's a very weird alignment. And you've got, you know, 2 linebackers here looking to blitz down or potentially fake blitz. Okay, I think I broke my thing there. But yeah, very interesting front here from Nebraska. So we'll see what Ty Robinson does. They pull the tackle to meet the linebacker, which means he's one-on-one with a guard. Breaks straight through, gets his hand on the ball and deflects it. So very, very good stuff there, I think, from Nebraska schematically. Something I think clearly Robinson is fit into. Great burst off the line. We'll just watch it a few more times here. I know it's only like a 4-minute video, but he didn't really get much in the way of a block. It's hard to kind of gauge that. But instincts, explosiveness, both on the show. Now, the second rep, he's gone from lining up here to being much more central. I say much more. I mean, he's more central than the first rep. But now coming over the outside shoulder of the left guard. So we'll see Okay. Okay, all right. We're going to have some fun this stream, it looks like. That is nasty. I mean, we're not going to get... I hope we get a replay of it. But hands under the pads, just absolutely... like he's a defensive end. Just gets up and under and kind of rips upwards. Somehow almost fights through a borderline double team as well. There's a fullback or a running back trying to chip him. Doesn't phase him and lands a meaty hit on the quarterback. I really hope there's a replay there because, yeah, we do. Oh, we're not lacking for it today. Automatically, just the first step alone is terrifying. Like, before we even get to the rest of the rep, the first rep, like, kind of just jags off to the right. Before the, it's the center here I think we're looking at has even had a chance to get his bearings. He's just being absolutely mauled. Then he comes into the right guard, forces his way through that. Center's clinging on for dear life, and Robinson gets all the way home. Yeah, that was an impressive play. There's a lot of explosiveness, a lot of power in this young man's locker. I'm not sure. There's a balloon on the field. Sorry. I got distracted by the balloon. We're going to have to watch. I got distracted by... I know I wasn't the only one. I'm sure a few of you guys got distracted by the balloon as well. There's a flag on the play and it's a balloon. Pennywise is here in the Nebraska defense. Wait, which one is he? Right. Hang on. So he's now on the other side again. Ignore the balloon. All right. I can see it just there creeping at the top of your screen. Just ignore that for now. And we'll see where this play takes us. It's another sack. It's another sack. And we get to watch the balloon all over again as he bullies his way through. It's just crazy. It's genuinely a bit scary. Like, you don't see defensive tackles that slippery. We're going to have to watch some more tape and see some other games. But the initial first impressions, this is a man that is a lot more Jalen Carter than he is Jordan Davis, I think, for lack of a better comparison. Just a bona fide pass rusher. The only thing I would say, I mean, I know he had like a little spin move there. That's probably the first rep he hasn't outright won. Little spin move, a little bit too late. Doesn't seem to have a ton of pass rushing moves in his disposal, which weirdly, I think in this instance, I would say is like a green flag because you've got clearly so much fundamental power and athleticism and explosiveness that if you can just teach that, you're going to have a real weapon on your hands for years to come. Like, how much traction he gains off the line of scrimmage here, right? So the ball gets snapped there. His helmet, if you were to draw a line, is probably the furthest already out of anyone on that Nebraska line. Straight through contact. He's now fighting what is basically a triple team, it looks like here. And he's still able to kind of clog that lane and buy time for his teammate and still fall on the pile. Really impressive stuff. Got a bit more of a look here, I guess, at his repertoire. There's no contact for a while. He gets time to set his hands and work out how he wants to attack this rep. Is able to somewhat displace the block, but not properly. So I think that will come down to maybe... And again, we're talking like what? We're 1 minute 54 into one game of tape. So we're not expecting to draw concrete conclusions here. But I would say pass rush move-wise feels a little bit limited. But fundamental power and explosiveness and athleticism or whatever other words you want to use are just outworldly. Like, you can see how much traction he gains there. And as soon as those legs start, there's just no stopping them. No stopping them. Motor is brilliant. Tries to get his hand up on that play. Does it help force an incompletion? No, but that's a PI, surely. But we won't find out. Next rep, that's better. A little bit of a swim over the top. We'll see how effective it was here. He's kind of going up against the center. Interesting there. Kind of lined up with his right side to swim with the left to get through that. And it did work. So, okay. So he does have it there. Maybe it's just, balloon's back, but the balloon is back, guys. Ignore the arrow looking for Ty Robinson. The balloon is back on your screen. And that is frankly what we're all here for, right? We're looking for the balloon. Evening, Daniel Berry. Josh Shadow, he's absurd. Next to Carter is going to be insane. Immediate replacement for Milton. He has a rep against a first-round offensive lineman too, against Ohio State. All right, I'll see if I can dig that tape up. But first impressions here are very, very good. Because the knock on Milton was always that he was a bit undersized. And I always thought that was kind of his calling card, that he could play that 5-tech and be this almost hybrid defensive end / defensive tackle. And you've now got someone that is a bit bigger. Like, how often do you see a player that size lined up there taking on a tackle? Like, that doesn't look huge. That doesn't look real. That looks like something you've just made up literally in CFB 25. You just got this like 300-pound monster trying to bend the edge. And, he does it. He does it pretty solidly in the one game we've seen. Now, on the other side of things, no real traction. Now, I think he actually got, if we go back to that, did he get held up a little bit? He kind of ran into a bit of a double team. So look at the speed back towards the ball, though. Like, this is the kind of player you want. This is, again, a very bad comparison. In terms of just turning and running back towards the play, that's the sort of thing Jordan Mailata does on offense, where, he's done it for years, and it's one of the first traits that ever really stood out to me on film, is that regardless of what happens in the play, he's the first one over to the running back, he's the first one over to the pile, first one over to the quarterback, whatever, just to clean up, to lift his teammates up, offer a hand. And this is obviously a very different circumstance because you're on defense and you're trying to finish a play rather than, pick up the pieces. But the speed to get back to that ball, if there's a missed tackle, you've got a defensive tackle that can fly back 10, 15 yards, catch a ball carrier, and just maybe hold them enough for someone else to make the stop. That's really impressive. And especially with how Fangio deploys these players, he likes to blitz linebackers. He likes to, drop defensive tackles into coverage. I think that sort of asset is so valuable. Because would you have a problem here dropping Ty Robinson into coverage 5 yards just to monitor, a potential screen or a slot receiver? Like, I wouldn't, not if it's literally within like a 5-10 yard range. I wouldn't expect him to, flip his hips and run 50 yards vertically with someone. But he can definitely, almost got a little something on Hunter there. Unlucky not to make that tackle, actually. See, really good awareness. I keep rewinding this because I want to see the exact point he turns back. Because he's blocked here. Here he's absolutely blocked. And he's still able to get an arm out. Like, that is huge wingspan. Look at that. Look at the effort. I like what I see. I mean, I'm amazed Nebraska are 28-0 up. That is above and beyond. But, yeah, this Colorado offense has done absolutely nothing. And we'll see what Robinson does from this spot. Oh, I like that. He didn't quite get the momentum he needed to get into the backfield. But, again, what looks like a triple team. And he ends up pushing someone to the ground, essentially. A lot of strength, a lot of core strength, a lot of core power. Does he come back to the ball here? Oh, did he make the stop there? Am I tripping? Did he make... I don't want to say... I think he did right. Number 9, obviously, is who we're looking at here. Right. Yeah, he gets to the backfield. There's the quarterback. Okay, it wasn't him. They just all look like they're wearing number 9 for some reason. Every 6 looks like a 9. Every 9 looks like a 6. It's very confusing. Off the edge, bull rush, forces the quarterback outside. Terrible pass, batted down. I mean, that is incredible. Look, Jesus, it's just the engine. And I know it's not a football term, but the engine, the tackle sideways. And I mean, I think this is the sort of thing where you could add at the next level is... Again, he's shown in this game that he has these other pass rushing moves. But this is the kind of thing where when you've got that much momentum, like the tackles, look at how narrow the tackle's feet are. You compare that to even the other side, where it's a wide stance and you're kind of leveled out and you're making this big mass wall for someone to get around. The tackle's so narrow. And he's now being bull rushed in. But when the tackle now has a foot off the ground and he is clearly backpedaling, that's where I think you've got to maybe find a little extra something, a little extra move, a rip, a swim, a club, whatever, just to do something else to maybe spin off and put some extra pressure on. Now, this isn't bad. I'm not saying this is a knock because it's really easily coachable for a player of this caliber, of his athletic freakishness. I don't know what's happened in that pile there, by the way, but that is a clear representation of what went on with Colorado's offensive front. But if you've got a player that is doing this without many pass rushing moves, or at least many that he's using consistently, what's he going to be like in year 3, year 4, year 5 when he does have those? Because even there, he's just sort of winning with like brute power and strength and just desire. It looks like even there, it looks like he's trying to swim, but he's got so much traffic to work through that it kind of all just goes to nothing. You're not going to get him triple team. Like, realistically, he's not good enough to be, being double and triple teamed at the NFL level. That's just not going to happen. So that should give him more ISO matchups, which means he's going to have to start learning more of these things. And if he can, then he's absolutely going to be a menace for years to come, because even there, like you can see, so just watch how much resistance the other side it takes to keep him at bay. Like, that is just stonewall closed off. And even then, it doesn't work. But I think that's sort of the other benefit here. It's sort of what, Jalen Carter would bring. Look at how that linebacker just shoots that gap. All there, because really all that attention is going to the defensive tackles. Like, that's what he can do when he's not winning pass rushing reps. So it's good to know you've got that almost decoy element if you always need someone on him. And the speed there. This is the thing. Like, look, he's just got off the block. The quarterback's scrambling. He's at least, I reckon, 6-7 yards away. Turns upfield, has a feeling the quarterback might escape, and just sprints into him. Like, yeah, the QB took a slide. Probably because he had a marauding 300-pound monster right on his tail. The athleticism is off the charts, like genuinely off the charts. There is so much upside there. I'm really impressed. I'm really, really impressed. Well, so we've got in the comments here. Is that the great Shedeur Sanders? It is. It is, Martian. It didn't look so great there, being shut out by Nebraska, but alas, he's going to learn that from Jalen. Oh, yeah. Like, the canvas is so good. And for a 4th round pick, this is genuinely terrifying. Is this film? Okay, right. We've got some film here. And I don't want to talk over someone else's commentary because that feels disingenuous. But look, he's got 70K views off it. He don't mind the free publicity. The only thing is he going to wind the tape back a lot? But, if it gets us more film, it gets us more film. So we can watch this and we can just, we'll promote him. I would say, look, Football Scout, if you're watching this, keep up the good work. I appreciate you getting hold of this film. I wish I had it on audio available, but, we might have to find some other Nebraska. Let's find some Nebraska footage because this might be easier. Nebraska defense. Okay, not Colorado because we've seen that. We've got Indiana. We've got Illinois. Is there another? I want to see this Ohio State one if I can find it. Wisconsin, it's 2021. All right, it's going to have to be one of these. We'll go with Indiana, the Hoosiers. Can't see him on that first play. Oh, no, he is there. He's in the middle. My chair keeps, phantomly dropping as well. Sorry, I've got to sort this out. I need a new chair. This ain't going well. So he is here. Again, double team off the jump. I'll make this screen a bit bigger for us here. And we'll lock in once again and do another one. I just find it stunning how versatile he is as well, to kind of line up at all these spots and still be super effective. I think he got tripped up on that one. Yeah, he did. Who was that finger in the middle of the camera there? I'm going to watch this rep again. So he's lining up in the middle. Did he just get, shoved down? Yeah, he kind of got chipped and then hit again. So you can see here, so he's the one with the red shirt hanging out. Goes in for the center, takes a knock from the guard who's reach blocking and just trips. Yeah, okay. I don't think that's him. I wonder. I don't know. Yeah, I won't put too much stock in that. We get a much better view of it here. Moves incredibly quick. Again, that first step is something else. Even on a a rep where he ends up on his ass. That's like Jason Kelsey level. Look at how wide he is. He's got a wider stance than a center with his arms out that's trying to, pave the way for these guards to push up. Like, that's incredible. And you can see then he's trying to, he's got one foot in, he's trying to sneak the other one round and curl one through. And that's good in premise. But now you've got two arms in your chest and you've got a very wide base. And while you shouldn't be knocked off, you probably are going to get, a little bit of damage. I think that's kind of what we see, where he's just getting mauled there. Absolutely mauled. Not much you can do. I think he's probably over-leveraged a little bit with his stance. I don't think he should have ever been that wide. Another double team there that he does fight through. And the main thing here, even though he doesn't want necessarily win the rep, is look at the running back has to bounce outside. So if you watch it again, engages well, doesn't lose a lot of leverage at the line of scrimmage, and then comes this second block. And by that point, he's done his job. The running back has no hole. If you are a running back here, probably gone 1 too far now, haven't I? But you can't go there. You got a linebacker. As soon as you get to this side, you've maybe got a hole here. Never mind, no, you don't, because he's just swum over the top, and that's just enough to force that running back outside. I'm so happy we get a better view of that as well. You can just see battling a double team. And that hole there, it was there. It wasn't a big one necessarily, but big enough just to bounce him outside that little bit. So if you look here, he's originally trying to cut to the right. Linebacker comes down. That's what he's aiming for, this hole. Robinson's in a double team situation. Great rep, to be fair, by whoever 74 was blocking. But just to swim over that top and really shut it down. Yeah, good stuff. Good run defense stuff. It's hard to determine run defense with defensive tackles because people just say he had, I don't know, 4 tackles for a loss, and they define that as run defense. And it's just never that simple. I would much rather someone that clogs lanes, that can understand blocks and shedding and all of that intricate stuff to force a running back into a dead position is just as valuable as it is bringing them down. Very active hands on this next rep. And now swims over the top. And he wins the rep. And so he's got it there. Okay, he's got these things there. These big moves. He has them in the locker. We just don't see them used frequently. Look at this. Get off me. Hand over the top of the head to brush that outside arm off him. Rip it away. And away he goes. And he's unlucky not to get a hand on that pass, to be honest with you. But really good job. Motor's unbelievable. This is where I think these moves would come in. I'm not expecting miracles and arms flailing and spins around everywhere. But I think, if he was going to go higher, first, second round pick, you're probably expecting in this sort of situation, you engage one block, you've got to roll around here. Or if you can't roll around, do, I don't know, just something. It's a bit too steady, a bit too static, I think, sometimes during reps. So that's a point for development. And that's not a bad one. Because, again, you're coming into a defensive line where you've got Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith. I hate to say Bryce Huff, but in terms of pass rushing moves, he's got quite a few. You've got a lot of guys that can teach you a lot of things. And you've got a defensive line coach that is getting the best out of this entire group. That's huge. If you're a team in need of an immediate starter, someone that's going to come in and is well polished and has all the moves and all the tools and knows what to do with them, this isn't your guy. If you can afford a DT3, a DT4 that has all the makings of being a starter one day, but he's going to need some work, you cannot find a better player than this, I don't think. This is a home run hit for the Eagles in terms of just someone that they can mold really, really nicely mold into the player they want him to be. The leverage here, again, nice quick swipe, gets his forearm over the top, sheds the block, comes in on a tackle. He's got them there. And it's not even a bad thing that he's selective when using them either. I do actually admire that. I'd rather that than be, the Bryce Huff equivalent, just burning out every play and then not being able to take your foot off the gas. That was a violent rep there, though. Is that into a double team again? Not sort of. On his arse he goes. Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. They're kind of in one rep here. He goes through 3 offensive linemen. There's one. Now he takes on the chip. Now he's now again. That's like 3 different blockers, all trying to seal that edge from what is essentially a defensive tackle. Crazy. Don't think he's in that rep. No. So I can take a look at the comments while that's happening. That rep was Josh Simmons, the Ohio State player. I see. He's really good. Well, shout out the big Scouty man. I forgot his channel now, but shout out to him. There needs to be more of it. I miss the days when I could break down film. I'd say, honestly, shout to him as well if he's gotten that monetized, because college football stuff to get monetized on YouTube is a pain in the ass. This is a totally separate note, but I remember I did a mock draft on the PSN channel, and I spent hours on this thing, and I had all the graphics, and it burnt my MacBook to a crisp to a point the screen started bleeding, like at the bottom left. And the video did really, really well, views-wise. And I was, this will be really worth it. And, I might get a nice bit of revenue here. And then, never mind, whoever owns the Big Ten decided to copyright it for a 0.5 second clip of the player. And I was mortified. So, screw them. I mean, hopefully it's a bit better now with like the NIL stuff. Like, they can probably be a bit more flexible. But, yeah, anyone that... college football tape is so hard to get hold of as well. Like, if he can get that and monetize it and do that full-time for a job, I'm genuinely buzzing for him, because I think there's so many talented people that do it, and they're just not going to be able to do that because of how strict college football are, or is, the different governing bodies. So this is a totally separate rant, by the way. I apologize. We'll get back to looking at this rep here, but yeah, shouts to him. It's really cool to see. Like, there needs to be more good NFL film content on YouTube, because back when I was doing it, there really wasn't any, which is probably why PSN took off a little bit when it did, because there just wasn't much out there. And it's nice to see other channels kind of doing that, but probably a lot better than I was doing it. And yeah, making a living for it. Good for them. It genuinely makes me happy. There needs to be more of that in this world. Good rep here. We'll try and break it down a little bit now. I'll stop yapping. Hands on. This is the thing. I think it's all kind of lower body. Does really well to leverage that inside arm and just drive and drive and drive and drive. Wins the rep. Unfortunately, the quarterback breaks one out, but, what can you do in that situation, Very active hands again there. Not quite enough. And running back's a bit shifty, isn't he? I don't know who he is, but he is a little bit shifty. Another double team to fight there, and no avail. It's intriguing, though, because obviously this is a team that's now put up 21. Oh, okay, right. We're going to have to look at this again, because that running back does... All right, it's not on Ty's side. I like this running back. I don't know who he is. Is he drafted this year? Is he not? Because that is... Right, and also get a new cameraman, because we've had balloons, we've had hands in the eye. Like, it's getting a bit much now. I'm above anything else, just excited about the running back. He's good. I like him. I don't know who he is. Someone let me know who he is in the comments, because I kind of like him. I think he's fun. I only watch the Eagles stuff he does. Fair enough. Robinson looks good. Not great against the run and well behind Ojimo and Booker. I think that's the thing. Like, you want to build a rotation, and I yap about this all the time, where if you look at how the Eagles build their defensive fronts in both Super Bowl seasons, they've just had monstrous defensive tackle rotations, right? So you go 2017, Cox, Jernigan, Bo Allen, Destiny Vio, and then 2025, obviously Carter, Davis, Milton Williams, and Moro Ojimo. Like, it's that 4 deep rotation. And this is a player that can absolutely develop. Like, he might not be the level of those guys yet. Certainly, maybe, not against the run. But I think the upside of a physical young player that can develop, like, that's the thing. I think the Eagles have really shifted their focus from, remember a few years ago, they're drafting JJ Arcega-Whiteside because he dominated his conference and set all these receiving numbers, and got to the NFL and couldn't do anything remotely close to it. And I think that's because you're paying for the production and begging that it translates to the NFL. And instead now, You're taking the fundamentals, which you know will translate to the NFL, both physical and mental, of a player that A, wants to play, and it sounds really cliche, but just loves football, and B, is an athletic freak. And you can coach the rest, and you can do it. You know, it's really a super intelligent way to build a team, because you're taking the risks out of it. Like, you're banking on my chair's shrinking again. I apologize. But you're banking on the intangibles, which you know are a given. Like, you're not worrying about, but he needs to, if he does this at the NFL, if he does this at the next level, you know he can do this because it's who he is. He doesn't have to take some magnificent jump. Like, the player is the player, and from there you can just sort of develop it into who you want. And I think that's a much better way to go about team building. So, you know, I can make the same case for PSN to some extent when we bring certain writers on. Like, they might not be the most fluent writers in the world, but mentality-wise, perfect. And then within a month or two, some of the best content we've ever had. And it's that thing. It's like, I want to make people better. And it's like, you could have the best resume in the world and have written for ESPN and stuff, but it doesn't matter if you're not also thriving in the areas that are needed. And it's the same with the NFL draft. Like, probably a bad comparison, but I hope you get what I'm saying. And I think that Robinson is absolutely a player that just has everything you want for a project defensive tackle. Like, to get him in the 4th round, I think is good. Like, I've not put a grade on him yet. I think I would do it shortly, maybe watch one more game, but I can guarantee you now. Let me get my sheet up, because I can see. Give me a sec. Where am I to? I need to change my. Browser. Bear with me. Okay, so I've got my sheet up. So the defensive tackle, I've only graded I graded 4 players. Okay. So I graded. Hang on, I'm losing my marbles. Right? We'll pause that. I think I've pulled him now by this point. Do that. Right. So these are going to be the That's not even it, is it? Nope, that's my stock tracker. Ignore that. I mean, you can look at it if you want, but it's just a really nerdy stock tracker. I've hit the wrong window. What I need is, hang on. No, that's why. That one. Too many sheets. Right. So I graded 4 defensive tackles before the draft. So Shamar Turner, Walter Nolan, Derek Harmon, Kenneth Grant. Okay. Derek Harmon was by far and away the best. I think that's kind of evidenced by where he went in the draft. Like, all of these are out of 10. So you end up with a score of 50. For anything above 45, I'd say is top 10. Between 35 and 45 is like, you know, round 1 / top of round 2. Then the lower you go, the lower it gets. So if we were to put Ty Robinson here, we'll grade him now, and then we'll watch one more game, and then we'll come back and just have one final look. Pass rush moves is where he lacks. I'm going to go 5 there, because he doesn't really have much. The get off, brilliant. Really, really good get off. Motor, I'd say 9. His legs just don't stop. The power is probably an 8.5, if not 9. And the agility is probably a 9 as well. If we're being honest, and if I was being really harsh and I put 8.5 on everything, which I think is harsh, that still puts him out at the same grade as Walter Nolan. And that's me being honestly conservative, because I think power and agility are unbelievable. The only thing he lacks, to me, are just pass rushing moves. He just doesn't use enough of them. Like, he's not, there's no combinations, right? You're playing Tekken and you're just punching. There's no combos of stuff yet. That will get there. But the motor's brilliant. The power is very impressive for a guy taking on double teams every rep. The agility is really impressive moving laterally. And the get off is outlandish. So to come away with what I would say, if that was a player drafted in the end of the first round, second round, somewhere like that, I'd be very impressed. To get him in the 4th, in my opinion, is a steal. Like, that is literally the same grade as Walter Nolan, who is, you know, if you look at my very whimsical grading scale, a better all-round player doesn't really thrive in much. He's just sort of a good, consistent, solid, do a bit of everything, jack of all trades, right? So hopefully that makes sense, and we can go back and watch them tape one more time. Technically, Nolan went higher. Really? I mean, okay, well, that's not a big discrepancy, but it makes me feel even better about my grading scale. So that's fun. And if you do want to see my my stock ticker or stock portfolio watcher thing, let me know, because I'm any excuse to talk about it. I love. In the meantime, let's get back to some Indiana, Nebraska. We'll find the next game. We'll do one more. We'll do Illinois. So, Mr. Ty Robinson, what have you got? And am I going to change my grading after this? That is now the big question. Don't think he's on the field yet, interestingly. There he is. So it's a run play. They're trying to push left. Not a lot you can do from that situation, really. You just kind of put everyone to the right. Like there's not a whole amount you can expect from him there. That's better. That parting the Red Sea like a prime Moses there. Look at that. Look. I know that guy's trying to get to the second level. Gets off him nicely. Maintains. But that bit there is really impressive. Right. And I wish YouTube wouldn't go back 10 seconds every time I hit that arrow. Right. But this bit here. Right. And you probably don't even notice it. Running back here, obviously, he's got the ball. You're either looking to break a run up here or you're just going to keep going and going and going until either something opens up or you're in a one-on-one matchup. Like, it should go as long as you can. Now, what Robinson does is put this arm out, keep this guy back, and just, like, prime Spider-Man 2 on the train, holding the, it together with the webs, is what he's doing here, and just clogging that hole. There is nowhere for him to go. He's between two offensive linemen, each of them trying to rush to the next level to maintain a block. This guy's won his block. He's set the edge for the running back to one round. What Robinson has done is ensure that he has to go round. He can't come up the middle because elsewhere, that probably matchup's lost. That matchup's lost. Really, really good job. The running back didn't even have the ball in the end anyway. It was a pass, but you get my point, right? That was, you know what you're yapping about. Really, really good rep. I like that. Now in the middle there, ends up kind of going down and coming back up again for a minute. That's the thing. He is really good athletically. Oh, cornerback rep. Oh dear. Well, he ain't going on the list. he's not getting a grade on the spreadsheet. We can go there. There we go. Right, so he's here at the moment. Double team again. Mauled back a bit that time. And what we'll do after this game as well is we'll go and actually have a look at what the scout reports say and see how much of what we've said in this breakdown actually translates to the scout reports, because that's always fun to do. You never know what you've missed, what someone else sees. Are you right? Are you wrong? Because I can't wait for Daniel Jeremiah to be like, he's got an array of pass rushing moves at his disposal and all this other stuff, and I'll be like, yeah, oh, offside, oh, hey, offside. God, that was a late flag. Anyway, double team again there. Can't really do much, and that's where I think. I'm not expecting you to win double team reps. Obviously, it's 1 versus 2. He doesn't lose ground, which is nice, so he's able to at least maintain some sort of pocket shape. But that's the kind of thing where if you look at what Jalen Carter's done really since getting into the NFL, it's just find ways to not even necessarily beat them, just move the pile like an inch the other way. Just really gain a little bit of traction, shift the pile to where he needs it to be to block a run and go from there. That was a really good clean up there, though. Wasn't him, but really good cleanup rep by the linebacker. See, hang on. So on this rep here, so he's in the middle, as far as I can tell, really low center of gravity. You've got 2 offensive linemen bullying him, and they still can't bring him down. So that the power side of it is really confusing. Or is that not him and that's 0? Oh, that's 0. Ignore me. That was 0. That wasn't him. Robinson's the next player along, who that rep there wasn't as good. Kind of got shoved down. Oh, that cornerback's not having a good day. Not in on that play. That's really annoying. There's a 9 and a 0. That's so confusing. He's breaking through there. That's better. Runs back to the ball to get in. I like that. Like the hustle's unmatched. The energy's unmatched. Stuff like that. Genuinely really impressive. That it's just these little glimpses is all we need, right? Very active hands. Tries to swim over the top. Nice, but he unfortunately swims into another block. Then he gets held up. He's still trying to swim and get free. Notices the quarterback, flips open, and he's able to then come down and just about secure a stop. It's going to look really good from this angle. Just so active hands-wise. Like, it's there. He has them there. And I can see why any defensive line coach will just be salivating at the idea of that, because if you can get him to that next level, like, it wouldn't surprise me if in like 3 to 5 years he's just like a well-rounded starter. I wouldn't say he's going to be like an all-pro, but I could absolutely forecast him being like a starter that, you know, on his second contract gets like, you know, 20 million a season or something, like, and go on to get like top 10 defensive tackle money. People are like, oh my God, what an overpay. And then he comes in and ends up having a really dominant, you know, 8 to 10 sack season. Like, I can see that kind of thing happening. 20 million might have been a bit steep on my estimations, but you know what I mean. Yeah, hey, cornerback rep, that was good. Lovely. See that bit there, that first step. Further ahead than any other player on the line, lowers his pad level nice, builds some traction despite a double team. Still fighting through to get free. Then he does. Then the quarterback puts a very poor pass in that does get caught and moved up for nearly a first down. So that can't really be helped there, but it's all good. Can't win them all. Did his job. Just waiting for the relationship analogy. Only just seen that, but I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure it's coming. Yeah, there's just a lot of double teams. I'm honestly really excited to see what he does at the NFL just in ISO matchups. Like, it's kind of like one of those questions, like, who would win 100 men or a gorilla, or what's easier, a double team in college or an ISO rep in the NFL? I think it's the same sort of thing. But I want to see what he does, like, because he's got that bit. Like, occasionally it just flashes, like, that he does this swim and he's able to rip through look and get off another player, then get a hand up, and it's really, really impressive. There's flashes of it there. And maybe it's just being selective. Maybe it's just been taught, like, you know, don't just show your hand all the time. Like, you've got to pace yourself. Double team again there. Good hustle. Brings down the quarterback. Nice. I do wonder power-wise if maybe I've been a bit too generous with the power. I think the motor and the power are two different things. Like, I don't know. That might be me being a bit critical. But sometimes, and again, I think I ranked it higher just because he takes on so many double teams. But there are times where he struggles. I feel like if the momentum gets stopped, that's it. You know, like, I think it all relies on the explosiveness and the first step and where he gets his hands. And if he doesn't get them right, he kind of stalls out a little bit. And maybe that's wrong of me to say. Like, maybe that's misplaced. But, like, you know, if you're stagnant and you're at a stalemate in the middle of a rep and, you know, you've both got your hands on each other, like, can you still find a way to generate momentum? That'll be something you can work on at the next level. Like, it's again, it's not a bad thing. I just think it's almost like just a little bit raw, I suppose. You know, it's like a nice, rare steak. And believe me, rare ones are the best ones. All right, we don't like them well done. I don't want my steak to taste like rubber. There's an element of violence there. I like the hands. I like the speed to always run up and get after the quarterback like we saw there. Look at that. He just twats someone over the head there. I think that might have been a penalty, to be honest. Can we just watch it again for fun? Get off. Look at that. Bang. See you later, he says. And then gets upfield to make a stop. He went to anywhere near his double teams. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I don't know what's good or what's not, but he did 28 reps on the press. Right, let's have a quick look. NFL Combine Bench Press. What's the record? 51, apparently. Any of these? 44. This is like 2006, though, so I think that would have been a bit heavier. So I'm just having a look now. I'm not sure if you can see this screen or not. I don't think you can. No one's done anything for a while, though. Harrison Phillips did 42. NFL Combine bench defensive tackle 2025. Help if I could spell properly, wouldn't it? Okay, so the leader was 33. 22 looks pretty good, to be fair. Right, I found a website that goes. I'm just intrigued now. Okay, here we go. So defensive lineman, 28, 32, 28, 28, 20. There's an edge with 27. Who's that? Ahmed Hassanein? Where did he go? Out of sheer curiosity. Because that is stunning. Sean Martin, 28, 20. There's a lot of 27s and 28. So I would say that's probably a bit light. You've got linebackers doing 21, 22, 20, 26. Tight ends doing the same. So I would probably say that's a little bit light. Maybe. But his RAS score was a 9.89. He went to the Lions. Damn. That I don't know anything about him, but that is a mighty effort. Yeah, I think the athletic score shows up crazy. I think that's the thing. Like, I think athletically, unbelievable. I think I might have been a bit too generous on the power. I think but that could just come from the frame. I don't know. I think the way he moves, the explosiveness, the agility testing would have been off the charts. Like, that I have no doubt about. Like the 3-cone drill, the 40-yard dash, like probably the vertical leaps, spin arounds, all of that good stuff. I think would have been absolutely fine. And again, blitzing charts. I think power, I do wonder if that is going to be something the Eagles single out to maybe try and get him to work on at that next level. So we'll see. We're nearly at the end of the third quarter here. I think we've got a good gauge on who he is as a player. Because, I think that's kind of what I've noticed in the 2 full games, I guess, as that are the cut-ups. Just that, like, when he gets momentum and he gets the first step, he's not really going to lose. If he doesn't have that, does he get washed out of plays? Is he able to still, push and that sort of thing? So it's validating somewhat that he did only do 22 reps on the bench. I say only as a 6'3" lanky British boy that can't even lift up a cup of tea. But, you understand what I mean. He's an intriguing. I really like him. I really, really like the selection. I think he's going to be very green. There's a lot of fun things you can do with him developmentally. And for a Milton Williams replacement, you have got a hell of a player there. So just someone that you can maybe bulk up a little bit. You can try and get him a little bit more powerful, but I don't think you'd want to negate what he does. I almost wouldn't want to bulk him up. Like, I kind of want to play him as what he's playing at Nebraska. This kind of like weird 5-techy, almost an edge in a 3-man front of defensive tackles. I know there's always those jokes, I think jokes, but you've got like 3 defensive ends known as a NASCAR formation. This is just like a monster truck formation, and you're kind of the Dodge Challenger in that. And that's a good role to have. I think if you've got someone that is athletic enough to drop into coverage off the edge, can rush the passer off the edge, can eat double teams in the middle, and do stuff like that against the run, which was a genuinely really good play instinctively. If you watch it again here, it's there. That's the thing. It's there. It's just not off the screen there. What is that formation? Gee, it's a screen. All that for nothing. That's annoying. It's there. It's just not off the screen. It's probably how I would describe that. Like, there will be flashes of athletic brilliance and being this just alien from another planet. Like, there you're essentially eating into a triple team and still driving a pile. But because he's got low and he can drive his legs and really use that explosiveness, that really worked. Like something like that, the agility again, he almost brought down that running back from behind as a defensive tackle. Like, look at him just bend up. Like, it's impressive. But I think, that was a good sack. It wasn't him, a good sack. Okay. I think we've got a clear image. I mean, any other thought? I see where the comment section uses that. He went, he was elite or great, everything other than the bench press, weight, and 3-cone. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, but I'm intrigued. So I'm going to regrade him because I think I was a little bit premature with that. So I'm going to quickly do that now, just while we're here, and then we can kind of go over the other things. So if we were to regrade knowing what we know now, path, that stays a 5, get off stays an 8.5, motor stays a 9, power I'm going to bring down to a 7. Or is that, yeah. Yeah. And that still puts him at 38. That's only just behind Walter Nolan. So even there, where I've almost tried to be critical, I've tried to try and find a weakness in the name of being fair. Because the last thing I ever want to do with these streams as well is just sit here and say that every player is going to be the next hidden gem or the next find or the next, whoever. Like, that's not my job. Like, I try and be fair, and I want to look at it through an objective lens. And I was trying to be critical there and find a flaw. And the most I could find was he isn't as strong as I thought he was. And that still puts him at a grade where if that's taken in the second round, like for instance, if I go to Edge, James Pierce Jr. I had it at 43. Safeties, Malachi Starks was the first round, I had him at 38, which is the same as Ty Robinson. So just these numbers is great. It's really interesting how it works. But what I'm going to do now is just search for Ty Robinson's scout report and see what other people have said about him. So what has Daniel Jeremiah said? Strengths and weaknesses. To see how close we are to the mark after a few games. Athleticism scores 80th, so 4.8 40-yard dash. He did 28 on the bench. Oh, he said he did 22. He did 28, apparently. Oh, that's unofficial, I suppose. Okay. Maybe I don't know. Bully with a rough shod playing style that forces blockers to match his physicality. That just sounds sensual. Robinson's built for the trenches with the versatility to play an odd or even front. He's first into contact with hands and mitigates average knee bend with brute force in his upper half. He's powerful to set edges but lacks length to control and quickly shed NFL blockers. He's an effort rusher with active hands who can exploit a weak edge and thrive in gaming fronts, but possesses average creativity, lack of moves. Robinson might not be a star, but his effort, strength, and demeanor could make... Okay, right, so kind of what we said. Good size with a broad frame and thick limbs. Yeah, hot motor, robust physicality. We said that. First into the neutral zone. I think we identified that several times. Quickly striking the blocker. Good feel with forceful attack on incoming blocks. Opponents with bad hand placements get tossed around. Agreed. Active hands. We said swat the punch and help access the edge. Use shoulder turn to skinny gaps and access the pocket. And leg drive, as we've said, and closing burst. Can be located and sealed by quick lateral blockers. Strong in his hips but lacks ideal bend. Short arms, rush is stalled by a firm, sticky punch in his frame, and upright rush. Yeah, so I think that's kind of the lack of power I was on about. Interesting, they didn't really mention anything about the pass rushing moves. Or is that like the creativity thing? I can't remember where they put. Was that up here? Where's the word creativity gone? I can't be bothered to find. There it is. Yeah. So average creates. Okay. So it's kind of roughly what we see on tape, right? Like we're not a million miles away with those observations, I think. You said 28. Okay. I have to apologize because I think what I did was interpret that as 22, Josh, and then looked at linebackers doing 22 and thought he was like really, really struggling. So I apologize. You must have think I was having some sort of like breakdown there. But look, body clock is still in the trenches. I don't know what's going on with it. So I'll put it on that. But I don't think he's that underpowered then. Maybe I'll put it back to an 8 and we can have him back in that fringe first round grade. Can't believe the Dolphins drafted Kenneth Grant 13th. That is insane. Like that might be the biggest win. Look, if my grading scale is anything to go by, that is atrocious. That is absolutely atrocious. Like, well, look, there's a reason I'm not an NFL scout, and that is because Kenneth Grant is probably going to be an all-pro now, because that's how that works, isn't it? But that is laughable. That is absolutely laughable. But on that note, in conclusion, Ty Robinson, I think all the fundamentals in the world that the Eagles could ever want to build a developmental pass rusher out of. You've got someone that's wildly athletic, that can line up all across that defensive line, that has a ton of explosiveness to his game. He can take on double teams. He's vicious. like when you say a high motor, like that should come to mind. That's the sort of player that I'd want to see when I read a scout report saying high motor. The legs just don't stop churning. I say concerns. I mean, areas for improvement and just adding a few more arrows to the quiver. Get a few more pass rushing moves at your disposal. Get a few more tools. I guess leverage is the other thing to try and kind of combat your weaknesses. And that will be taught in the coming years. But to project something, I'd say year one, he's probably going to be DT4, maybe DT3, just taking on those like rotational roles. Who's to say in a few years? Who's to say how high you can go? But I think in a rotational role where if you're talking about an offensive line that's going to be dealing with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis for the majority of the game, and then every once in a blue moon, that guy comes up and just wants to rip the skin off the bone of an already beaten down offensive front, I could see him getting a few sacks in his rookie year. I could absolutely see him doing that. And it's a player that in the 4th round, I think is simply exceptional value for a player that I've then, as you can see on screen, drafted just a smidge below Walter Nolan. So very good. I'm very impressed with that. I mean, that's the 3rd selection in a row we've been impressed with. The one guy I'm really intrigued to take a look at is the linebacker out of Georgia, Mondon. So I think we're doing that next time. So that'll be Wednesday night stream. So if you want to tune into that, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, Philly Sports Network, this very channel. So if you want a notification for it, hit the subscribe button. And obviously that will come through when the stream goes live. But 6 p.m. Eastern, make sure you leave a like, guys, as you leave the theatre, just to let us know you enjoyed the movie, and put your popcorn in the recycling centres respectfully. But until Wednesday, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all hanging out with me and breaking down some tape on a very, very exciting defensive tackle. And until next time, go Birds. I'll see you soon.